Rotarians, I would like to introduce Dr. Andrew Hoffman. He is the local optometrist here at Hicksville Family Eye Care since he took over in 2011 from Dr. Hilbert. And he graduated from Wabash College undergrad and Indiana University School of Optometry. His hometown is Monroeville, Indiana. And he's going to speak with us today about his other life as a basketball referee. He's been officiating basketball for 16 years at the high school level and 10 years in the women's college, Division 1, 2, and 3. Dr. Andrew Hoffman.
I want to come over here, since we started on trivia, that's where I'm going to pick up. How are you doing? So we're going to get to this in a little bit, but this is a little quiz we're going to take, see how good you guys are with the rules. A test. That's right, that's right. Although the eye exam, there's no wrong answers, there is with this one.
How many gyms you been kicked out of?
You guys are going to find me when I'm done, aren't you?
I want to know if over the back is really a foul.
Good thing.
It is not, and it's actually, it's displacement. It's not over the back. And when people yell that, I just shake my head.
Used to be over the back, didn't it?
Maybe a long time ago, but it's over the back actually a foul because people say that all the time and I didn't think it was. And
All right, so,
I'm like, I'm too
so I'm Andrew Hoffman, and obviously, like she said, I'm going to talk a little bit more about officiating basketball today, less about eye doctor. So for those that were here to hear about eyes, I can answer questions at the end. But we're talking basketball today. So as she mentioned, I took over Dr. Hilbert's office. I've been in Hicksville here since 2011. It's been a joy. So a lot of familiar faces. It's nice to get to know everybody in town. I'm from Monroeville, so small town. It's nice to kind of be back in a small town. It's kind of the way I wanted to practice when I went to optometry school. So personable, nice and low-key. That's kind of the way I like it in there. So let's talk basketball. I started when I was a sophomore in high school, and I literally, so my best friend in high school, his dad does WNBA, does Big Ten, he's on TV all the time, and he said, what are you guys doing this summer? And I was like, construction, like every summer. He said, no, you're going to ref. And I'm like, I don't know the rules, I don't have a jersey, I don't have a whistle. He goes, well, you're in luck. Here you go, you got 10 games on Monday. Just like that. So we went out to Fort Wayne Parks and Rec, and he had paired me up with an older veteran official, and he had paired his son up with an older veteran official. And we had the rule books, we had a jersey, we had a whistle, and we just went to it. So started out with third graders, then we had 2 games of third and fourth graders, and then we had 2 games of fifth and sixth graders, and 2 games of seventh and eighth, and all. I mean, by the end of the day, at 10 o'clock at night, you're walking out like, what just happened? So it was a long, long day, but very, very exciting. That started the passion, and from then, I mean, I went back the next summer. I called the guy and said, hey, can I get out there and ref again? And just loved it. Stay in shape, although I can eat this meal and feel pretty good here, but stay in shape for the most part during the winter. So that takes us to when I was 18. Now you can officially apply for the IHSAA test, take the test, get licensed, and so went off to Wabash College, took the test, I think in June. It was the middle of my football. I had a football game. I had to leave the game early, go to Indy because there was no really internet computer testing, so you had to go to Indianapolis to take the test. So my dad picked me up early from the game, went to Indy. The questions that you're looking at right here, it's very weird verbiage, and it kind of confuses you quite a bit. That's exactly what the test looks like. 100 of those questions, you have to score 75 or better. I missed 73. Or no, I missed 23. You can only miss 25. So I walked out of there just like, I'm failing this thing miserably. I mean, this is awful. But it's open book, 3 hours, so you can look all these up if you want to, but good luck. I mean, I spent the whole 3 hours and I still felt like I didn't have any of them. So I passed, got my license, started reffing. Then when I was 18, started the Boys and Girls Club, went in there, handed him my license. I made up my own little business cards back in the day. Walked in, said, hey, I want to ref. And he goes, I hear that from every college student. I said, no, really, I've already reffed for 2 years. I want to ref. So I go, just give me 2 games, and then if you like me, you can call me back. So gave me 2 games, third and fourth graders. Hey, this is right in my wheelhouse. So did those 2 games, and he goes, okay, you want to come out every Saturday? Sure. So paid through a lot of my college that way. Started doing, junior high, 7th and 8th grade ball, then freshman, then JV, and by the time I graduated Wabash, I had a pretty good crew on varsity that we were doing a lot of varsity games in the area. Then I moved to Indiana University and had to start all over. Had to go to the Boys and Girls Club, do the whole thing again. They were like, yeah, everybody in college wants to ref. Started all over, and by the time I left there, I had a pretty good varsity crew and was doing a lot of games. But 2 years in, I started doing women's college. And so traveling a little bit more, go down to Hanover, Rose-Hulman, Franklin up in Indy, Mount St. Joe, Transylvania. It's all D3 in the Heartland Conference. And so I started doing a little bit more travel. Once I came back to Fort Wayne, now it's a Crossroads League, which is like St. Francis, Taylor, Huntington. What else is down 69? Huntington, Taylor, Indiana Wesleyan. Then you've got the MIAA, so you've got all these Trine, you've got Indiana Tech, so there's a lot of schools within 45 minutes, so it's easy to pick up games. But that's just kind of my progression through it. As I've gotten into that, there's an assigner over here in Ohio, and I work for the GLIAC, which is basically out of Michigan, so you're talking what used to be University of Findlay. Now they've joined the GMAC, it's all confusing, but, and then Ohio Dominican, Tiffin, Walsh, clear up to Hillsdale, and then you've got Grand Valley State, Ferris State, Saginaw Valley. So travel a lot on Saturdays, nonetheless, and but it's been good and good exercise. And then I do some lower level, Purdue Fort Wayne. I usually get about 3 or 4 games there a year. So just a lot of fun. Like I said, keeps you in shape. Any questions before I transition? Yeah.
Do you ever get any remarks about your eyesight?
I do. I don't tell them what my profession is. I try not. Now, there are some coaches that know. So the Dwanger coach is funny because he's a patient of mine. So I've asked him, he told me I could tell people. But so I've been on the sideline, and he'll stand next to me. They're like, that's travel, Drew. I'm like, no, that's not it. Their pivot foot was established. It's not a travel. And so there was a foul in one of the games. It was a close game. And we're going down, and he says, now, dang it, Drew, I know you saw that because I saw that, and that's a foul. So, all right, Matt, calm down. So you get some guys that definitely know. But
You ever ref at Spieth?
yeah. So he asked if I ever ref out of Spieth in Sport 1. I mean, the nice thing about basketball, and if you guys if you're interested or have children or grandchildren that are interested, by all means, it is totally worth it. I make one phone call, and this is the same way in college. I make one phone call. You can have as many games as you want out of Spieth, or you can have as little as you want. So when I needed money, hey, I'm going to go work 10 games today. I wouldn't do that anymore. My max is 4. I'm tired of it. It's like coaches screaming. Everybody's just controlled chaos. So going through, the typical season, I'm going to kind of run through that, and then we'll go through this little test and see how everybody in here fares. But getting started before the season, how do you get into NCAA? How do you get into NAIA? Making the transition or the jump from high school to the college level. And so basically you have camps that you have to go to. So every summer I have about 3 different camps I have to go to. And I pay to anywhere from $200 to $500 for my Division I camp to go ref basketball. I have somebody that you see on TV all the time, that's my clinician, and they grade you the entire time you're reffing. So every call you make, every non-call you make, every time the coach comes out of the box and you don't penalize him or warn him, they grade you the entire time of how you're reffing and you're performing on that game. So then at the end of that camp, you get a score of how well you did amongst all the other 200 referees that are there. That list goes on to the assigner, and then that assigner determines their roster based on those scores. So every year at the end of the season, you get fired. I don't care if you work a final game, I don't care if you work the semifinal game, it does not matter. You try to get on the website, your access is denied. So you get fired at the end of the season, and the summer starts, and you have to come right back in shape, and you have to be ready to ref again. So, and then the assigner takes that score, and then they dictate who their staff is, and you get an email, congratulations, you've been accepted into the GLIAC conference. You go set up your accounts, and you set up all your mileage and stuff that they pay you. And then you have tests. And so once you've been accepted into this season, now you have to get on there and log into the NCAA site, because you have access now. And then you have to take your test, and it's 60 questions. These are off of that test. So this is a good example, again, of kind of what you have to take there. 60 questions, pay your fees, pay your dues. Then you have videos you have to watch. You have a preseason meeting you have to go to where you have to talk about all the ins and outs of the new rules, if there are any, or the focusing, the points of emphasis, they like to say. The coach's box this year is the point of emphasis. So I got yelled at for not giving a coach the warning the other day. I was just like, I explained my call and he stepped right back in. I didn't feel like I needed to warn the coach, but apparently I should have. So during the season then, and just like today, pull up my phone. I got videos every single week. There's videos that come out you have to watch that are showing you those points of emphasis. And there's also 5-question tests or quizzes, just like this. This is a conglomerate of some of those. But 5 tests or 5-question quizzes that you have to take, and you have to get 100%. You can take it as many times as you want, but you have to get 100% in order to qualify for postseason play, so anything in the tournament. There are also, every game I go to, especially on the Division II side, there is an observer at every single game. So when I walk in, you have to be there an hour and a half before the tip. You stretch. Sometimes I'll walk out, see the lighting in the gym, because it is different every gym you go to, so I kind of acclimate myself to the gym a little bit. You'll go back in, you stretch. If the assigner or the observer is going to be there, they generally will come in about 15 minutes or 20 minutes before, right before you hit the court. And they'll come in, they'll introduce themselves. And you'll see them up there writing in their book. I mean, you make a call and you're like, man, I didn't love that call. And you look up and they're just writing away. You're like, man, I didn't like it either. So it happens, but you know, it's just part of it. And then when you get done, you don't get to see any of that. That observer's notes go straight to your boss. The coach's ratings on that game go straight to your boss. And then that's how they determine who gets into the postseason tournament. So based on your grades, and you know, there's 16 officials in the final, semifinal, and all those games. Then it's the top 16 officials that go on. Postseason, again, coaches vote, the evaluations from the observers, that all goes into that play. They do also use your location, because when it comes into regional sites, they can't send officials too far. So your gas mileage bill can't be too much. You get paid gas mileage at D1 and D2. You do not at D3. So you know, if I'm driving, you don't want to go work at D3 school that's 4 hours away, which I did last Monday because I had to take one for the team. Had to drive down to Louisville for a D3 game for $190. Well, I spent that on gas real quick. So I was overlooking downtown Louisville. I was like, why am I even here on a Monday night? But it was fun. It was a good game. So, all right. Any other questions before we transition? Yeah.
LeBron James, you get to
Well, so on the college side, I should have said this. I think she did. But on the college side, I just do women's. So I do women's college in all these D2 schools. I've looked at doing the men's, but there's a little bit more cutthroat, a little more politics that are involved. I feel like on the women's side, it's a little bit more fair shot as far as they want the best officials out there. So, yeah.
What's the main difference or differences in refereeing a women's game versus a men's game?
Speed. And if you go from high school, and I'm not saying boys or girls, but you go from high school game to a college game, it is remarkably different. If I go from a D3 game or an NAIA like Indiana Tech, and I go do a D2 game, it is every bit faster, and the plays happen so much. By the time you like thought about blowing your whistle, that play's already moved on. They're already scoring to the other end. So the speed of that is so much better. Now, with that being said, there's better athletes. So when there is a little bit of contact, you know, and you might have called a foul at a lower level game because that foul would have knocked the girl on her butt. It's not the case when these girls can play right through that, and they'll say that's an and one. Yeah, you're probably right. Well, we're moving on. So the speed, but also the strength, big time. But then it's just so much more pressure on us because not this last Saturday, Saturday before, everything's on film. So every single play that you call is going to go to your boss. If it's a questionable play, guess what? It's going to your boss. And I'll give you an example. Taylor Spring Arbor from Michigan. And so we've got 55 to 55, 21 seconds left. So I'm the lead official. Rim's right here. I'm down under the basket. That's what I mean by lead official. And Taylor throws up a last minute kind of layup-ish shot. Misses, but the rebound goes long. So the girl gets the ball. She comes flying back at the basket. There's only 21 seconds. She comes flying back at the basket. Well, the girl is standing right here in front of me. She jumps out. Her arms are straight up. Everybody says she's straight up. Her arms are straight up, but she makes contact as the offensive player is driving into her. They both meet. They stop. This girl's leg kind of spins back, and she kind of travels a little bit. Well, I took a second, and I called the foul because I'm thinking the foul is what caused her to travel. Now, if I don't call the travel, that coach is going to go crazy. But if I don't call the foul that caused the travel, this coach is going to go crazy. So I waited a second, I called the foul. Monday morning, I get back to my office. I'm getting ready to run out the door to go to Louisville, and I get an email from my boss that says, "What happened here?" So he says, you know, you look at it from the film and it doesn't look that hard. Well, that's because you're clear back at eagle view looking at this play. Well, I'm right on top of from me to Leonard. I'm telling you that forced her to travel. And so, you know, he just says, explain what your call was here because I got to shoot that back over to the coach. The coach is mad. That girl fouled out, and then this girl goes to the line, hits both free throws for bonus. They advance the ball to the front court. They have 21 seconds to score, and they lost on the last second shot. So I ruined the game for them, is what he says. That's part of the job. But I know I always ruin the game, right? So, but I just explained to the coach that from my angle at lead, that was enough contact by that defender that forced the offensive player to travel, and it was either call a travel or call that forced the travel, which was the foul. But any other questions?
Is that the toughest call to make?
Travel or well, I would say.
Because that seems to be a lot of that controversy there.
I mean, when it gets into a tight game,
charge
and block, some of those are just your angles. It really is your angles. I would say that's the toughest call to make. And the toughest thing, not just to make that call, but I'm at lead and I'm calling a foul, and it's in between me and the guy out there, and I just hope that he doesn't have something different. That's the hard part, because I've been at a game where I've done this and I'm like winding up to say player control or charge, and this girl goes here, and I'm like, okay, yep, looks good. We're gonna stay right there then. So the hardest part is laying off of those plays, and that's where we have primary areas. If the play is driving to me, I'm the back official, I'm supposed to lay off those plays. I'm supposed to have a whistle, but not call anything. And you saw Blards in the tournament 2 years ago. And on the men's side, Blards just means you had one official say block and you had one official say charge, literally at the same time. And so, in the men's side, the ruling is you call a foul on both of them. Now that's not very fair. Pick one. So on the women's side, we get together and we say, whose primary area is it? It was that official's primary area, we're going with that call. So that's how we solved on that. But on the men's side on that game, they went double foul, point of interruption, out of bounds, is what they ended up doing on that. So.
Now, as you say that, and you go, who's the primary or whatever, you know, it makes me think a lot of times, not that happens all the time, but you know, officials get together. Is that maybe the beginning of that discussion? Whose
Yes.
primary area was it?
If we're getting together, it's usually whose primary is it? So what look did you have as the primary official? Now I can tell you what look I had, and you may not like it, but I got that ball coming off her leg. And then that primary official can say, okay, you're right, I'm only 85% sure anyway, I'll change it. So they'll change the call, but you're just bringing them information.
Right.
So the primary official's call is what stays, unless they deem that they're gonna change it. And of course, you work with different people, so you have some referees that come in and they try to just say, no, this is what it needs to be. I'm not gonna argue, you obviously came in here, you're 120% sure, I'll change it. And I'll go back and clip the play later and send it to you and say, yeah, you were wrong. So if I catch any flack for it, you can answer for that. I'm not gonna do it. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do any of the college games you do use video replay?
Yeah, so especially Findlay, Grand Valley State, there's quite a few now that are getting in because they're a lot cheaper to get, and I love it. I mean, so our thing on the women's side, I don't know that men have this or not, but if there's like a three, let's say the girl shoots a three, but you're not sure you caught her foot, maybe her foot was real close to being on the line. The official that's closest to the table will do this to the table, the media people. They'll mark that time. So now we go down, we come back to the next timeout. Might be a media timeout, might not be. We go to the monitor, they already have that play pulled up for us. So we've already marked it. We go over there, we go right to it, we go to the play, okay, our foot, there's space, perfect. We go out, mark the three, we move on. So when you get under 4 minutes though, there's no more media timeouts. So now that's where these games get longer and longer, because now you have so much stuff you can go to the monitor for that you have to go and look at it right now. You can't wait to look at it at the next media, because the end of the game is the next media. So it takes a long time for those games. But then you have to go under certain circumstances. You have an elbow above the neck, you have to go look at that. That's either going to be a player control foul, or it's going to be a flagrant foul. And so that was changed 4 years ago. And so basically any elbow contact above the head, you need to go look at the intent. Because if there was malicious intent involved and the guy looks at him and says, I don't like you, that player's getting tossed. If it's just I got the ball and I got somebody hanging on me over here and I twist and I hit the guy, that's just a player control. We're going to just call that a normal foul. So that's what we always go look at on those. Yeah, Jim?
Yeah, you'd said something about D3 having an observer. Do you have an observer at any of those college levels alum that will observe that game and take notes?
Not at every game, so they just surprise you.
Okay.
And sometimes it's your own boss. I mean, I walked in the court on Monday night down in Louisville. I'm thinking, okay, I just drove 4 hours, actually, I took my time, 5 hours to get down there. Took a 20-minute nap in the parking lot, walked in, and ready to ref the game. Had no idea about either team because it's too far away. I don't pay attention to either team. Just thought, well, she sent me down here, so it must be a good one, I hope. Well, then she ended up being at the game. So we walk out and look up in the stands, and there she is, got her clipboard ready. And then at the end of the game, when your boss is there, when the observers are there, they just leave. They'll come in and say goodbye because you see them all the time. But they don't tell you anything that's on their notes. But when your boss is there, it's going to be another 45-minute conversation after the game to talk about all her notes. So we were there till 9:30, 9:45, and then I got to get on the road and come home at 1:30. No, it's fun. But, you know, her point to me that game was I had one going back to, you know, primary official. There was a drive coming out of the center, which is that opposite side. He's coming at me, or the girl's driving toward me. We both had a whistle. And her comment was, I didn't need that whistle. That official is primary. She should have the only whistle. I don't need my whistle unless she misses the foul, and then I come in with a cadence whistle. And then I had another, you know, I had a player control foul, which is an easy call. Coach comes, you know, jumps out on the floor, and I'm like, Coach, you can't elbow in the throw. That's player control. All right. So I didn't have to warn him, but she said I should have warned him right then. So, whatever. Game management, it was a 2-point game. I didn't feel like throwing, oh no, that's enough out of you. So. All right. Anything else? Now I'll get started on this little quiz. So the whole point of this little test here is that I'm sure all of you sit in the stands and yell at the referees quite a bit. And you think you know the rules. So at the end of this quiz, this test, anybody gets 100 can come yell at me anytime they want. Anybody that doesn't score 100 is not allowed to say a word to the referees this season. All right? So number one, and I'll kind of like set these up a little bit because the verbiage is very difficult. But during an alternating possession throw-in by Team A, A3 fouls B3 after the throw-in pass is legally touched by A2. So let's just set that up. You've got two kids scrumming on the floor, alternating possession. You've got a jump ball. Everybody with me? Scrumming on the floor, jump ball. Okay, we've got Team A gets the ball. So Team A is going to have the ball. I give them the ball out of bounds. They're doing one of these. They're looking for their player that's open. They pass the ball in. As soon as that player on their team, it's legally touched by A2, catches the ball, A3 sets an illegal screen on A3 sets an illegal screen on B3. So you have a foul on the offensive team. Now the question is, who gets the alternating possession arrow? The officials instruct the table to keep the arrow with Team A. Is this correct? So I'm going to have a show of hands. Does Team A, so after this ball, I throw this ball in, my team catches it, but then I have a player control foul on Team A. Does Team A get the arrow again, or does Team B get the arrow again? So the officials say that Team A is going to get the arrow. Who says yes, that is correct? Okay?
You'll come in, won't you?
And then who says no, the arrow should go to Team B? The arrow should go to Team B. So the reason for that is, and this is tough, but this is where we have to get together on a play like this, because the throw-in has ended when it is legally touched on the court. So no matter what that foul happened, we have to go and say, was that ball in this person's hands when that foul occurred? Now, if that foul happened and the ball's in the air, the arrow is going to stay with Team A because the throw-in never ended. So once that ball is touched by that on the court by anybody, could have been a player on Team B, but once that ball is legally touched in bounds, that's why they hold their finger over the arrow, and they only flip it once it's touched in bounds. Does that make sense? Yeah. So once it's touched in bounds, that's when you flip it. Because if you flip it too soon, and there's a violation or a foul leading up to that ball getting thrown in, the arrow stays. So if A3 would have fouled B3 before that ball touched, that throw-in is over. Now B's getting the ball out of bounds, but you don't penalize him. You don't penalize teammate twice. B3 is going to get the ball, but teammate is going to keep the arrow. Very confusing. So we officials have to get together and say, okay, hold on now. Where did that foul occur? Did she have the ball over here? And I have to come in and I say, I got him having the ball when your whistle went. Okay, the arrow will switch. Number two, on a free throw by A1, B1 commits a lane violation. A1's free throw misses everything, the ring and the flange. The officials rule a lane violation by B1 and award A1 another free throw. Is this correct?
Yes.
So I'm going to set it up for you. So A1's got the ball, getting ready to shoot. B1 falls in the lane. Okay, now I've got, this is our signal. This means that there's a violation on team B. So if A1 misses their shot, then they get another free throw. So the coaches know when I'm standing out here doing this, it's because your player just stepped in the lane. And that free throw shooter knows that they get another chance if they miss it. If they make it, we play on. We don't have anything going on. But I just do this just to say that I saw your foot. Now if you miss it, you get another shot. So let's go back. All right, so now A1 shoots, misses everything. So I've got this, but now A1 shoots and doesn't hit anything. Now, who's going to get the ball? What's going to happen? The officials rule lane violation by B1. A1 gets another free throw. Who says yes? Who says no? The answer is no. Because A1 violated by not hitting the free throw, the ring or the flames. A1 that's a violation by player A1 for not hitting anything. So B1 violates, now A1 violates, guess what we do? Woo! Jump ball, because they both violated. So you can't penalize B1 because A1 didn't hit anything. They at least have to hit the rim. And I'll pick it up for time's sake. Following a goal, A1 is dribbling the ball in his or her backcourt. B1 bats the ball out of bounds. Shot clock, so we're college game on this one. Shot clock shows 22 seconds. How much time does Team A have to establish front court status? So I'm dribbling the ball up the court, and it gets batted out of bounds, and I'm in the backcourt, and there's 22 seconds. Let's just go, first off, how many seconds do you get to go from backcourt to front court? 10 seconds. So now the ball gets batted out of bounds, and there's 22 on the shot clock. How much time do I have to get across there when I go back, when I put the ball back in play? Do I get another 10 seconds? Or do I get 2? Who says 2? Who says 10? Nope.
I ain't got any of them right here, so don't.
The answer is 2. I have 2 seconds when I put that ball in play. Now in high school, that ball gets batted out, I get a whole nother 10 seconds. But in college, and we're talking about a shot clock here. There's no shot clocks in high school. So we're talking about a shot clock. Now me as the official, we're coming up the court. We don't count in college because we have a shot clock. So when we're looking at 10 seconds in the backcourt, we're looking at the shot clock. I don't count like I do in high school because the shot clock's going to tell me as soon as it gets to 20, if the ball has not touched the front court or a player in the front court, it's over and back. If the ball's in the air and it's in the front court but it's in the air and it hasn't touched anybody, that's still 10 seconds and we're going the other way. So once it's been tipped out of bounds, why would I penalize the defense for good defense? They knocked the ball away. And now I'm going to give you another 10 seconds in the backcourt? No, I can't penalize them like that. They still only get 2 seconds. Even if the offensive team calls a timeout, they only get 2 seconds when they come out of that timeout. A1 standing in her team's front court attempts a pass to A2. B1 is standing in Team A's front court and deflects the pass into the air towards Team A's backcourt. A3 standing in Team A's backcourt catches the ball. Is this a backcourt violation on Team A? Anybody else? So let's go through this. And so A1 is in the front court. I'm trying to figure out where I want to pass the ball. I go to pass it. B1 tips it to the back and deflects it all the way to the team's backcourt. A3 is still coming up the court. I catch it. Is that over and back? No. Who says no? Who says yes? The answer is no.
Yeah, I got one right.
The answer is no. So because A3 still has backcourt status, they're allowed to catch that ball. Now, if player A1, it's right on the line and player A1 jumps from the front court and catches the ball as it's coming down, that's over and back because A1 had front court status, cannot go to the backcourt. A3's already in the backcourt, so they can catch the ball and do whatever they want. It's really confusing. Everybody wants over and back. Come on. And then this last one I actually had happen last night in my game. So after a try for a goal by A1, so try for a goal, A1 shoots it, ball hits the rim, there's a long rebound, and it's bouncing toward Team A's backcourt. The ball is touched by player A2, he swipes at it to try to get it, hits the ball in the front court, ball goes to the backcourt, and the ball continues into that, and then player A3 rushes and gathers the ball. Is this a backcourt violation? No. Who says yes? hits the rim, long rebound, so it's in A's front court, hits the rim, long rebound, A2 swipes and kind of gets a piece of it, goes into the backcourt, A3 rushes over and grabs it. Yeses? Over and back? No's?
Do they have firm possession of it after the rebound?
Exactly. So it's a shot. So the answer is no. It's a shot. It's coming off the rim. Doesn't have to have. All it has to have now is, now it has no status, front court or back court. It did before the shot, but once it hit the rim and it's coming off, there's no front court status or back court status. So if A2 swipes and hits it, that's a tip. That's not possession. Shot clock hasn't started yet. Now we go back to the back court and then they gather it. They're fine. And the coach last night was going crazy. I'm like, it's off a shot. Get out of here. So, anyway.
So no matter how many times it got tipped, it's still just a rebound.
Correct. It's still at the ball. And in that situation last night, it was tipped by his player, tipped by the offensive player. Then goes to the backcourt, and that same guy goes and gets it. And I'm like doing this off a shot. It's a fumble. There ain't no possession on it. I can't call it over back. Now, if it comes off the rim, and he gathers it in the front court, and then he goes to jump, you know, and to go this way, he steps in the backcourt to go, that's a different story. Now he has front court status off that, he has possession, steps in the backcourt to go this way, that's an over and back.
Is it the ball though, or is it his foot?
Three things, called a triangle. So you gotta have 2 feet in the ball. So if the ball's coming off and I catch it, and I've got 1 foot in the back and 1 foot in the front and the ball, guess where I am? What status do I have? Backcourt status. Because this puts in the backcourt. I can go forward. I can go backwards because I still have backcourt status. I caught the ball, landed over the top of the line. I can go this way, but I can't do one of these. Now I just took my foot off. Now I'm completely front court and then go back. I can't do that. Tough ones.
I thought banking would be difficult.
Yeah, right? I'm telling you, and then you think about it, you got all these videos that go back and you look at them later going, man, how did I not see it that way? I'm running this thing through my mind a million times, and I swear that's what I saw, and then you can watch the film and you go, huh, that wasn't very hard at all. Any other questions at all? I thought I'd change it up, talk about something different. I love basketball too, so just something fun and something different. So thank you.